and welcome back to Up the Villa podcast. This is our predicted lineup episode for Middlesbrough v Aston Villa in the FA Cup. Delighted to be joined by Hannah, who's going to be giving you all a formal apology for the Christmas quiz. I know a lot of you have said to me in person, never put her on a quiz ever again because it was absolutely solid. So, Hannah, you can apologise and you're all right.
Well, when I was writing that, I actually thought for a little bit that it was going to be too easy. So now I know if I think it's too easy, it's definitely the opposite. And I promise if I'm ever granted Quizmaster again, I will go easy on you lot. Because, yeah, I was reading through the comments and it was quite funny that lots of people were finding it difficult. But it's part of the fun, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm back fresh in the new year. Looking forward to what 2024 has to hold, including an absolutely riveting first fixture of the new year.
Which is one that you are going to be going to. And we are going to put it out there. This is Hannah's first ever away day for Aston Villa. So how are you feeling about that?
I'm very excited. It's quite funny. The furthest I've ever travelled watching Aston Villa is to the Bescot. So this is really exciting for me. Albeit it's third round against Middlesbrough, who probably aren't the most glamorous footballing side in the world. I think it's exciting for anyone for that to go to their first away game. Me, I'm doing it at 24, which is probably a bit later than most, but it's never too late to get involved in the away games. Obviously, it's really difficult if you're not a regular to get a ticket. So this was the first time that I was actually able to get one, and I thought, do you know what, I'm going to do it. January is a horrible month. It's depressing. Everyone's, post Christmas, post New Year blues. I thought let's have something fun to do. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's a whole new match day experience, really, isn't it? I mean, I'm going to drive up there, so it's a bit of a jaunt, but I think just getting up early and getting to this new stadium that I've never been to before and experiencing away end, I think, yeah, it's really exciting. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm sure we'll get into kind of what the lineup's going to look like and how we might set up. But I'm hoping that the game is just as entertaining as I'm hoping it'll be and that we can get a win because I'm still haunted from watching us play Stevenage this time last year. And that just did not go very well.
Yeah, me and Justin did the match preview, yesterday, and it came out yesterday, and like we were talking about the FA Cup, and then I've kind of forgot about Stevenage, and then all of a sudden I just had that flashback of that ball going to the edge of the box and beating Olsen at the near post, and just being like, what is going on? So yeah, that was an unwelcomed memory that came into my head doing that. So yeah, I think me and Justin spoke about it, what the FA Cup means, how big of a trophy it is, especially for the football purists, especially for football fans. And I can imagine fans of a certain age maybe don't have the same affinity of what older fans have because of the way in which you've grew up with the FA Cup. I mean, you're the youngest contributor on our channel. So, what does it actually mean to you?
I think growing up around people who talk about the FA Cup in such high regard probably um, changes my opinion on it compared to how I'd feel if I was just brought into the footballing world by myself. So, you always hear your family members, as your older family members, talking about the beauty of the cup and when we've won it in past years and how magical it is. So I've kind of absorbed that and kind of get a feel that it's a special competition, but there is probably in modern day football for younger fans a bit more of a focus on, you've got to win the Premier League, got to win the Champions League. But in terms of like a domestic trophy, it's the creme de la creme, isn't it? It's the best of the best. And if I was to pick something this season, the FA Cup would be right up there for me in terms of what I'd love to win. It's a proper trophy. It's something that, even outside of the UK, you'll get recognised for winning. So it's a trip to Wembley as well. Who doesn't love a trip to Wembley? And I just think it, it's been far too long that we've not really taken it seriously, whether it's because we've been struggling in the league or because we've had managers that haven't taken it quite seriously. I've never really felt that we've been in the FA Cup in my kind of footballing Aston Villa lifetime. We obviously had a decent little spell in the Carabao 4 years ago now, but beyond that, our cup history in the last 10 years or so has been so poor. So it's about time that we turn that around now. If we want to be the Aston Villa that we talk about so often, that has to also come in domestic competitions as well. We can't always, be looking at Champions League and all these other things, which are lovely and nice to have, but we want some of that English footballing heritage and glory, don't we? So I think this competition is huge, and I'm hoping that this time around, Unai Emery will have learned that it's important to us and important to the squad, and take it seriously enough to field a decent side on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, when the cup draw comes out, I get excited by that cup draw. I was like, who are we gonna get? Who are we gonna get? And this one, it was like Blues were still in it for like ages, and I was thinking, we're gonna get them, but we didn't get them in the end. But yeah, there's excitement of who you're gonna get. I absolutely love it. I do. But I think you're saying like 10 years. I think haven't we got out the third round for the last 7 years or something? So. That's a lot.
Over.
That's 7 years of not getting out the third round of the FA Cup. That's tragic. And some of the teams that we've had, we've probably had United about 5 times, but we've had United. I think we had Liverpool. We've had Stevenage. So we've had like up and down teams, but it doesn't really seem to matter on who we get. The same outcome always happens, that we go out and. When I'm looking at the Villa squad now, and we're going to predict our lineup in a minute, and okay, there's going to be changes, that we're not going to be full strength. I think we all know that. But when we are picking this team in a minute, it's still a good team. And I think maybe in the past, have we not really had a squad as good as this, that we can take a player out and put someone in there that has been starting Premier League games this season. So I'm hoping that okay, we make changes, but they're to an adequate level to get us through the tie. I mean, we've got the opposition preview out tomorrow morning, and I'll give you a little bit of a heads up on that one, is that they think that they are going to play the kids and absolutely chuck this game and focus on Tuesday night in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup against Chelsea. So that's the early team news. They've got loads and loads of injuries. I think they've got 13 injuries to their team as well. So, okay, we've still got to get the job done, but that's the noise coming out of the Middlesbrough camp, is that it's not sold out. It's not going to be like this raucous atmosphere, and they're gonna heavily rotate. So we'll get into it, Hannah. I'm going to allow you to take control of this team then,
Thank you.
and you can focus fully on the 11 players, and then I'll dip in and out of when you're sort of giving your team. So kick it off then with your sort of back 5. Who are you going with?
Okay. And before I get into this, let's caveat with the fact that we've got 2 Premier League games in January. So you've touched on it with Justin in the match preview, but this month we're looking at far fewer fixtures. The team have had a few days off now, a nice little rest. So I think coming into this, we've got to go pretty strong. So I have gone strong in my predicted lineup, and I think as well, factoring in that we'll hopefully have a couple players coming back this month from injury. Obviously, Kamara coming back from suspension. I think it means that throughout this month we're going to have a little bit more flexibility in the squad. So it worries me less to go strong in this game. So I think, especially with recent history, I think Robin Olsen was in goal against Stevenage. I'm not going to go for Robin Olsen. I don't even think he's fit still. So we'll go for Martinez. I think he is exactly what you want in a cup goalkeeper, and he's our number 1, so we stick with him. In terms of a back line, I have gone with a 4 still. I bring Cash back in. I'm hoping he's fit. Obviously he's been a bit in and out recently, but I think this is a game where we could utilize him a little bit more attacking freedom, hopefully. And then I've also gone for Moreno on the left, given Luca Dean's injury, but some good minutes for him as well. And then for centre-back partnership, I thought, do you know what, Ezri Konsa deserves a break. We've seen the stats in the last week. He's played the most minutes in the Premier League in 2023. So I've gone with a Pau and Diego Carlos combination. I just think give Esri a break. If we need to, we can then bring Esri off the bench for Cash maybe, and kind of switch it that way. But I thought Pau and Carlos is a very strong centre back partnership, and I think we really missed Pau Torres when we didn't have him for those couple of games. So it'd be good to get him back with potentially a 90-minute game. So that's my back five. I don't know if you have any complaints there, Luke.
No, I don't know. I would agree. I'd agree with 4. I think Moreno 100%, Cash I'd go 100%, Carlos 100%, Martinez 100%, Pau. I think if everyone's fully fit, I'd probably go Pau with you. But I think we might go Longley. Just because Pau did he come? He didn't come off against Burnley, did he? But he looks like he had a bit of a niggle at the end. So you could argue maybe a long lane there, but and rest Pau. But yeah, I think that's pretty good back 5 to be fair. So let's go then. Let's go the 4 midfielders then.
Yeah. So my biggest decision was kind of whether to play or rest Douglas Luiz. I've chosen not to put him in this team. Probably like the biggest player I've left out, I'd say. Just because again, minutes wise, can we cope without him? I'm bringing Kamara back in. Obviously, he served his 3-match ban now, so he'll be raring to go. And again, I think we've really missed him in the games he's missed. And without Douglas Luiz, he does that job, I think, pretty well by himself. So I've put him there, and then I've put kind of John McGinn supporting where needed in that, I guess, a pivot, but less so than we would normally expect. Hopefully he can be slightly more advanced. And then this is kind of where I got a little bit more stuck. Obviously, we're still missing Tielemans, who I think would have been brilliant for this game. So at the moment, I've gone for Jacob Ramsey, who I'm guessing is going to be, so like you say, there on the left side as he normally would be. We're still waiting to kind of unlock Jacob Ramsey as we remember him. I think he really needs a big game, like a game where he comes out and he gets a goal, he gets an assist, and he has a good performance. I think he's missing that at the minute. I don't know if it's match sharpness, but perfect opportunity for him to again get a little bit more confidence back. So I'll keep him in. And then on the right side, I'm thinking Zaniolo. Again, another player that we've yet to 100% see the best of, but of starting to see some of those good signs. Obviously, he's got his 2 goals now, which is brilliant. And I think, again, when we're trying not to go like too gung-ho and include every first team player, I think he's a good one to bring in for a fixture like this. Now, this was kind of where I struggled. I'm going to go Watkins up top because I just think we need to play Watkins up top. I think John Durant is an interesting player. I think he's got ability, but I just don't think he's a starting player at the minute. I think he's a little bit too wild and wacky. So Watkins, I'd love if we're up 3-0 at 60 minutes to take him off. We'll see, bring Durant on. This final position is kind of where I've got a bit stuck. Mostly thinking who works best alongside Zaniolo, who works best alongside Ramsey, and who needs the game time more. So this is kind of where I'm hoping for your input, Luke. Obviously, we're kind of weighing up between Bailey and Diaby. I think my only concern with Bailey is that he can be a little bit prone to injury, and I just think, is it too much of a risk to pile on even more games when I don't always think he looks 100% fit. You know, he picks up a lot of little niggles, doesn't he? So I was leaning towards Diaby. Again, he had such a good sort of first half against Burnley and then should have scored 3 or 4 in that second half. So we saw some of the best signs we've seen of Diaby this season, but then he just couldn't get the finish enough. So I'd be tempted to go with Diaby, but I just couldn't quite settle on who I thought would fit best with the front pairing with Zaniolo.
I'd say, I reckon you've pretty much nailed it, to be fair. I would go. I think Kamara's got to come back in because he's had a lovely Christmas, hasn't he, Kamara?
Yes. Yeah.
Lovely Christmas and New Year. So I think he can get back to work now and put a shift in. Again, I agree. I'd rest Louise, I think, over McGinn. So I would, the options we've got in here. Okay, you could maybe say you want to play Dendonka, but I mean, a double pivot of Dendonka and Kamara's, it's not that expressive, is it? So,
No.
so I think we've got to pick one of Louise or McGinn. So I would rest Louise and play McGinn. I think Ramsey, again, like you've alluded to, needs game time, needs confidence, needs a goal, needs an assist, needs a performance, has to play for me. Zaniolo, another one, didn't really feature too much over Christmas. Again, we're going to need him going into 2024. So Zaniolo starts. Again, with you, Bailey, I wouldn't play Bailey. I think we don't need to. I think, he's done so well over Christmas period. I think we can play Diaby. And up top, I might go Duran, I mean, we've heard this rumor of AC Milan and stuff like that and etc. But, I'm kind of looking at this Duran situation here now and thinking, if you're not starting against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup, I know we want to take it seriously, and I know we are crying out for sort of like a lot of fans are saying we need that other striker in case Watkins gets injured. Like, surely Duran, I don't know, it's got to start. I'm torn. I don't know, but
No, I get what you
gone
mean.
Watkins, I've gone Duran, so
it is a tough one. And if I'm in Unai Emery's head, I could see him starting John Duran. I think what tips it for me is that all of these previous games where we've gone into like a cup game or even some of the Conference League group stage games, we weren't always starting with the best team. We were kind of starting with the second string players and then bringing the starting team on when we were struggling. Whereas I think in a game like this, you don't want it to be a banana skin. We're away from home. It's not really the nicest place to go. And my gut feeling is just go with Watkins for that bit of quality. Get ahead with the best players on the pitch where we can. And then if we're ahead, we bring on John Duran. I think, I just don't want to start with John Duran and at half time be fizzing that we, thinking, oh, we needed Watkins on, I think Watkins is sort of absolutely pivotal at the minute to us scoring goals, whether it's scoring or assisting them, as we know is contributing so much. So I'd rather just get ahead in this game and then take a few of them off even at half time and give some others a run out.
Yeah, well, that's our team. I mean, that's a good team. That team can beat Middlesbrough in the FA Cup and progress to the next round. Whether we're tweaking one or two, whether you're going Luis for McGinn or you're going Bailey for Diaby or you're going Duran, whatever combination, that team is good enough to win this game of football. So, let us know your thoughts in the comment section of our team, of Hannah's team. So if you hate it, it's Hannah's team. You can let us know on Hannah's team. But some positive news that's coming from the Villa camp at the minute is that Leon Bailey is about to enter talks for a new deal. He's got a year left on his contract in the summer, so we need to tie him down. And, it's one of them where I gather he loves the Villa now and he loves playing for Villa. We had that sort of chat from his dad when Gerrard was here that Ajax wanted him and he was unhappy, weren't he? And he wants to play games. And you can see now the level of quality in his performances that he's looking really, really good. We need to tie him down. He deserves a new deal. He deserves more money. And, he's one of these now where, just like Luis, you're looking to kind of build the team around Bailey and Diaby, Watkins, Luis. So, it's important we keep hold of all of our good players, and he's now one of them. And I think, you mentioned his injuries earlier. Touch wood, he's looking a bit more robust now, and I don't know whether that's because he's more confident and he trusts his body more. maybe it's because he's playing more. Before he was in and out. He's a fast player. His hamstrings are stretched. And if they're not warmed up, for like weeks on end, he might get injuries. So I think we're starting to see the best out of him. And I've been critical of him in the past because it's not being critical because you think he's a bad player and you sort of hammering him. It's because we've known there's a player there. We've known that there is a really, really good player there. And now he's delivering week on week. You see the assists, the goals, the performances, the runs, the defensive work. This is a proper player we got now. So what's your thoughts on Bailey and his new deal?
I'm really happy. I was just talking about it at the weekend, actually, that surely he's due one, because I was thinking back to when we'd signed him and I was pretty confident that he hadn't had anything new since then. And I thought it must be ticking down now. We need to secure him in. Do you know what? He's nearing on at the minute towards player of the season for Villa, which is honestly, he really had quite a poor season last year. I think maybe less so under Unai Emery, but sort of from the point he came in and he had that worldy debut and he scored against Everton to sort of where we are now, he had such a rut and such a poor patch. He was driving me mad, but not, again, like you say, not because I thought he was pants, because I'd seen this cameo that was this player that looked really, really good. And then it had just gone so downhill and it was driving me mad that I thought, we've got this player here that has the potential. Why are we not getting it out of him? And along comes Unai Emery, and like we've seen, he improves players. And I think a lot of it, like you say, is he's playing with confidence. I think he's the type of player that wants to be playing football. And when he's ticking, when he's firing, he looks like one of the best of his kind in the Premier League, really. And his goals and even assists this season have been invaluable to Villa and the success that we're having. So really, really important deal for us to get over the line. And I think hopefully it will be another thing for him that kind of gives him that boost and shows that he's appreciated, because we know it can be difficult when players come to England to play football and they've never played here before. It does take time to settle. It does take time to, find your footing. And if, he's still a relatively young chap, you kind of have to give them that bit of patience. And I think Leon Bailey is the blueprint for that now, to show that, look, give a player time, give them the right, resource, the right manager, and they will flourish. And Leon Bailey is that player. So very, very happy that he's hit this form, and to get him a nice deal will start his year off right, and I think will be probably one of the biggest bits of business we can do this month.
Yeah, absolutely love it. So that's our predicting lineup for Middlesbrough v Aston Villa. We have got the opposition preview out tomorrow morning. May do the press conference as well, so we can try and get a little bit of team news going into the game on Saturday then. So Hannah, enjoy it. Yes, and bring back bring back the little ball for the next round. We want to be in the hat. So it's been great chatting to you again, and up the Villa.
Up the Villa.